I've been thinking about the dating pool in the Christian setup. A lot of people are saying, is the dating pool murky? The dating pool is dirty now, the whole what. But then, what I wanted us to focus on today was just looking at yourself. Do some self-introspection. See where you need growth before you actually go about looking for someone else. Hello, welcome to Future Husband Diaries. I'm your online sister and I'm here to give you advice on anything dating Christian-wise. Whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship, but anything that you need, help that you need in terms of dating in the Christian setup. Dating in the Christian setup is different from dating in the normal world because it's sort of like dating in the Christian setup has its own set of rules. There are this unknown set of rules, and with the changing world, there isn't much that has been set up for how to date or how to court, either way, how life is supposed to be like for you as a Christian woman out there. So I'm here to help you as an online sister. And as always, before we start, we're going to have a moment of prayer. Let us pray. Our Father art in heaven, thank you for the day that you have given us today. As we continue, please open up our hearts so that you can speak to us and we can fully hear you in what you're trying to tell us. After we have learned this, may we keep it in our hearts and it changes our character, who we are, and we put all glory and honor back to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So, like, subscribe, share it with other people, please. Tell whomever. All right. So today I wanted us to talk about the dating styles that are there. I was looking at it, I was analyzing my friend. Okay, I do analyze my friends out there. And I hope that you won't hold it against me. So I was analyzing my friends and I was looking at them, the way we interact and the way they interact with their significant others. I found it to be a little bit different for each person. There are the people who have styles that are similar, but there are others who have styles that are different. People tend to be different in their own aspects of life. So as I was doing some research, I found there's 6. These are the 6 that I'm going to bring. There's dating styles that I'm going to bring. So with each dating style, what is it that I'm going to bring? I'm going to bring up each dating style, tell you the things that I've learned so far, and then from there, you can see where you belong and see where you need growth and see where, you might be able to help yourself so that, next time when you're dating someone, you do not bring your baggage into the relationship, but you help to build the relationship to be in a better space. So now, I wanted us to talk about the first person, the first type of dating style that I know, which is the overthinker. Let's be real. There are overthinkers out there. I've been in a relationship with an overthinker. It's a little bit exhausting when you are not an overthinker or when you are also an overthinker, because they sort of like bring their anxiety back on you, and you also, on top of the anxiety that you had, now you have someone else's anxiety coming back, and it's a lot, I tell you. So what is it that this person does? They go big in everything. They look at the way you are, like, a conversation isn't just a conversation to an overthinker, because to them, you're having a conversation, everything is good, you go back home. But when they get back home, what is it that they're going to do? They're going to replay that whole conversation and start to look at, when you were saying this, probably this is what you meant, because of how your face was, or how, like, body language was, like how the subtle things that you were saying but that were not really there. And then you start, then they start to magnify the little things, they overthink everything, and then they start to think of, like, maybe you were saying this, maybe you're meaning this. Or If even if it doesn't have to for them to go back home and actually reanalyze the conversation that you're having, when you are saying something right there, their mind immediately thinks of all the other possible options you're trying to say. Because most of the time, you can actually analyze that person by saying, I think this is what you mean. You mean this. Like, but you'll be like, no, I said this. Like, but this is what you meant. Right. So that is a person that I think is an overthinker. And it so happens that most of us, we carry this anxious gene in us where we're always anxious, we're overthinking, we're always thinking other people are out to, people are not who they say they are. And you be thinking, people are out to get you, like things will go wrong, this will end, this what, there's so many things, like they're so anxious all the time. So that is an overthinker in a relationship. So now, what are the strengths? I'm just going to start with strengths because I feel like strengths are good, put our strengths first and then afterwards, we can look at all the other things. So the strengths that they have is they can discern and they have a desire to know and honor God. I like that. They have a deep desire to know the truth. Like, those are the kinds of people, they can know when you are not saying the things that you're not saying. They have that ability to understand that maybe if someone says, I'm fine, they have that instant know-how to know, no, you're not really fine. And that is a good thing because they can analyze your facial expressions, analyze your what. So they have a deep desire to know the truth and they can bring about another aspect or other things that other people are not seeing. So anything, red flags, misalignment, or anything that, is not okay, they are quick to know those things. And when they really think about this, it's sort of like they can analyze your facial expressions, they can analyze the situation, they can see how the environment is actually impacting you, and they can be able to analyze. That person will be like, just be saying, I feel like this is not a close place, let's just go. They have analyzed and they've seen the vibe in the area and they're able to notice that. They can be able to notice that the things that other people are not really noticing. I really like that about them. And when it comes to the attachment styles, the 3 attachment styles that are there, they tend to be leaning on the anxious side. They tend to lean on the anxious side. And so most of the time, they operate out of deep fear. That is the problem, as they operate out of deep fear. They're always fearing the worst out there. They're always thinking something bad will happen, something bad will happen. So at the end of the day, you find them maybe retreating or you find them maybe spiraling out of control, depending on how the situation is like. But those are the overthinkers. So what is it that you are going to do today? If you find yourself that you are an overthinker, I think the best way is to look to the Bible, because I like the Bible. Even here, I even put something which says, do not be afraid, right? We should not be afraid. We should not operate out of a situation of fear and looking at our lives and thinking, oh, you're always so fearful, I'm fearful out of it all. But what is it that you need to do? You need to look into your life and analyze and notice that there are other things that, it's a world and things will go wrong every single time. But you anticipating and living in the future and not living in the present will actually impact your life, because you never get to enjoy the time that you have now, the life that you're in now, because you're always looking towards the future. Do not operate on that. And I know me telling you that is just not helping you in some way, but I feel like you being able to analyze and notice that you are an overthinker and you do it out of fear and God is there. He's the only one who can be there to what you need to. When you get to a situation where you feel like you're spiraling out of control and you're operating on fear mode, you need to take a step back. You know what usually helps, especially when you're on anxious mode. I do have those kinds of anxious modes, is to take a step back, just calm down, sit down, take a deep breath, and try to focus on one thing. Not a lot of things, just focus on one thing. There were these 5 traits I used to have, and then you'd be starting to count from 5, and then you'd be like, what are the 5 things that I can see? What are the 4 things that I can hear? What are the 3 things that I can, you're looking at the environment where I'm in now. What are 5 things I can see, and start naming those 5 things. What are 4 things I can hear? 4 things that are there that I can hear. 3 things that I can touch, and then and then 2 things that I can smell, and then 1 thing that I can using all my 5 senses, right? It's sort of like it took me from a position where I was fearful for the future and looking towards the future and spiraling out of control, and brought me back to the now, so that I can be able to understand and live in the now, even though it was just for those few seconds. But I was able to focus on that me at that point. So now, in a relationship, you do not have to spiral out of control. You do not have to, I know it's really, really tempting for you to be like, he's on his phone, he's texting someone, maybe he's cheating on me, maybe what, and then you take your anxiousness and then you put them on someone else. If you feel those anxious moments coming, just take a step back and try to live in the now. Maybe remind yourself the things that this person has done, the good things that the person has done. He has loved me, maybe brought me food today, he called me today. And then you sort of keep on reminding yourself about the present, the things that are happening now, and the things that you're gaining. So that in your mind, you sort of focus on the now and not on the future and the spiraling is. But then at the same time, you should trust your instincts sometimes. Like the sixth sense, there is something, maybe you are right, you have noticed something, right, which is misaligned, which is sort of wrong in some way. The way you approach it is what will make sure that your relationship goes well. The way that you approach that thing. So if you are asking that person, make them understand how you are and what kind of anxious mode you operate on. And then you tell them, maybe whenever you are on your phone and I'm talking to you, it makes me feel anxious because I start to imagine that there's something more important in your phone than me. And then my brain starts telling me that maybe you are cheating on me. Is it okay for you, whenever we are having a conversation, that you put your phone down and you leave it there, and then we have this conversation, and then at the end of the day, after we're done, you can take up your phone and what? Because that is how that will help me in some way. Make sure that you verbalize your anxiousness and you do not trivialize it in some way, but you talk to the person and make them understand, so that at the end of the day, you do not spiral out of control. So the verse that I'm going to give you, yes, there's this one. But then Proverbs 3 verse 5, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not in your own understanding. And whenever you find yourself that you're getting out of control and you're spiraling out of control, I think it would be best just to take a step back and lean on God. Just take a deep breath, say a little prayer, and then, there are some things where we sort of think our problems are so trivial that I will not bother God with it. God doesn't say, do not bother me with anything. Bother God with everything that is in your heart. Even the minor things. God, I feel like he's cheating on me. My mind keeps on telling me that. And I know maybe it's not true or what. God, help me, enlighten me in the best way you can. And I feel like even that 1 second prayer, even that 1 minute prayer, whichever way, will be helpful in your journey. So that's number 1. Okay. So that's the overthinker. And then number 2, That's the Miss Independent one. Ugh, this one. Oh, yes. I'm so guilty when it comes to this one. This one is when you find yourself being strong and self-confident in who you are, and you are so confident and content in wherever you are. You do not find the need to find another person, to be in a relationship with, because everything about you feel like, I can do this by myself. I can do this by myself. And yeah, you're so independent and you're like, I don't need a man. I don't need anyone. I'm good. But then what you have to understand is no man is an island. I'm not saying get into a relationship if you are that content. No, please do not get me wrong. But what I'm saying is maybe you find yourself that you are in a relationship or you desire to be in a relationship, but you find that you always revert back to who you are. You always revert back to being so independent and being so everything about you, and you sort of like you get to a point where you forget even like, oh, I have a boyfriend. I have one. So yeah, that's for that kind of person. But if you're content in who you are and you're good, just stay like that. There's nothing wrong with any being Miss Independent or Mr. Independent, wherever you are. So now, what are the strengths that this person, possess? They're emotionally steady. That person is not fazed by anything. Sort of like, this happened, like, okay, and then it moves away. So they are slow to rush into anything. When it comes to a relationship, that person can stay 5 years and be single for 5 years. And they do not see anything wrong with that. And they are grounded in their identity, on who they are, and they are less likely to fall for someone. So now, when it comes to this, those are the strengths that this person has. Those are the strengths that the person has. And they are, what did I say? Their attachment style is avoidant. They'll rather avoid any kind of relationship than find themselves being in a relationship. So now, if that person is an avoidant kind of personality and they are confident in who they are and what, at the end of the day, when you are dating such a person, those are the kinds of people that do not feel comfortable you calling them every single time. They are, other people that tend to, would like to call their significant others. They like to text and they like to get replies. Those kind of people, they do not need to reply. They don't reply. They do not call back. You find yourself dating someone who like, but I'm always calling you. I'm always texting you. You're always replying to my messages, but you're never the one to start or initiate the conversation. That is that type of person. So now, what is it that they have to remember? You have to remember that no man is an island when you are that type of person. You have to remember that social aspects are also important in life. I know you might be telling yourself, I do not need this, I do not need that. But being social has its own benefits. There are some things that you cannot do alone that other people can help you achieve even better. Same thing as if you are selling something. Like you're a business person, you need clients for them to actually buy that. You need people around you. You need social aspects. I'm not saying get a lot of friends. No, just a few will be okay. But being social will actually help your life a little bit in some way. Even if it's just getting one person that that will be your ride or die. That is important. So now you have to make sure that in your life you find that person will be with you, because when it comes to this kind of life, I'm not saying but I don't want to say lonely, because most of these people, we are not lonely. We like being alone, but you need even if it's not that close, but you need some kind of social aspects that you have all around you, because God made us to be social beings. We need to interact with other people. So now, what is it that you do? You need to learn to trust. You need to practice, risking your life, risking your heart. So you give your heart to someone, risking it, whether they will actually hurt you or they will not hurt you, instead of just avoiding it altogether. So those are the things that you have to do so that you make sure that in your life you can, you get even better, because you can never know what the other person will bring into your life. So the verse that I'm going to give you is Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 to 10, which is, two are better than one. Yep. Safety seeker, right? Someone who, craves to be safe. They are loyal. They are, they tend to risk everything just to be around certain people. It's sort of like they're always craving that safety. They're always wanting to be next to someone so that they can feel safe. They are loyal, they're kind-hearted, and, they're always finding that hope and that safety in someone else. Those are the kinds of people that, they break up with someone today, tomorrow they're in another relationship with someone, and they fall in love with that person and they become safe in that person, and it ends, they get into another relationship and they are safe in that aspect. So they tend to be loyal, they're good, and they're honest, and they're responsive in that kind of way. But then the problem that might arise is they might find themselves attaching too much and finding their safety in some other people that somehow sometimes do not even deserve it. And other people might tend to take advantage because this person is looking for that safety in someone else. So what is it that I'm saying? You need to find the safety that you need in yourself. Even if it means that you have to stay single for a while for you to actually feel that safety in yourself, so that you get to a point where you are safe, even if you're not in a relationship. Even if you are in a relationship, you find that you have the safety that you need, and not put your safety in someone else and putting your hope in someone else that they will bring you the safety that you need, and you do not trust yourself to be alone. You need to make sure that you trust yourself to be alone, because in this world you are enough. In this world you are more than enough. You do not need to find safety in someone else. You have the safety in you. That's what you need to understand. So now you need to realize that in some situations you can be able to walk away from such situations and not look back and not attach your worth in someone else. Do not attach your worth in someone else. You do not have to attach your worth to because you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship, and you feel like you have to attach yourself to that kind of, that safety. There are things that you need. You need to make sure that you grow your self-confidence to be who you are, and you are confident in who you are, whether you're single or in a relationship. Your individuality still comes through. You are who you are. You are safe alone, and you do not have to put your safety in someone else. So that's the kind of person, like the people are always looking for safety in other people. And then the other one that I had is the ones that attach easily, like they fall hard. I don't know what to call them, but the kind of people that fall hard, like they get into a relationship, they fall today, they're attached, they're happy, everything is good, and then at the end they are passionate, and everything, like you get into a relationship, now you already saying, I love you, you go big. Everything, you're always going big. Oh, I think I can call this the Ted Mosby's. Every time they're always, they have that hope that they'll find the right person. The right person is here, the right person is there. And they have found a person today. You are the love of my life. Tomorrow, like this one breaks your heart, and because there wasn't the life, like tomorrow, you are the love of my life. No. They just, They do not look at whether are we compatible or we're not compatible. Are we, like, do we have chemistry or not? As long as how they feel is, they always feel like their love is everything. So now, what is it that they need to recognize? You need to recognize that real life takes time. It's not something that can just be instantaneous. It really takes time. Those are the things that develop over time. For feelings to be really, really real, they need to develop over time. That's not something that can be actually gotten at the beginning, like, boom, I love you. No, it has to take time, action, effort, knowing your love languages, putting extra efforts into that, and so that love can be able to grow. And because love is not all about passion, love is about trustworthiness, the efforts, the what. It's like a principle and all those other things. It has to be built in friendship. It has to be built in the times that you have spent together, understanding my love language and all those things, so that the foundation can be steady. After the foundation, then we can grow it up until we get to a full house. It's not only going to be standing right then and then at the beginning of the relationship. That is not going to be possible for you. So what is it that you need to do if you are that kind of Ted Mosby kind of guy? You need to take a step back. Even if you're not getting into a relationship, take a step back and try to analyze and find whether you're compatible with this person before actually putting your heart out there for that person to actually hurt you. You need to understand compatibility. You need to understand whether you two are building on something, building on a foundation which is the right kind of foundation. Analyze, look at all those things. Look at the other things that they are not really showing. Analyze and see it, and see whether you are compatible with this person, so that at the end of the day, you are not going to be hurt. Because this type of people, they tend to be hurt a lot. Getting into a relationship, think they're in love and then after like a week, that relationship is gone, and they feel so hurt. So those are the things that you need to do. You need to just take a step back and understand that, some things take time, and you need to, you need to let it grow. Let it, when it comes to flowers, I was listening to something about flowers yesterday. They need to take time to their roots, right? They need to bud. They need to be secure in where they are, and they start blooming and up until they grow into those beautiful flowers that we see. They do not just become flowers instantly. It takes time and effort. They need to be watered. They need to be, for them to actually grow and be even if they are wildflowers, this takes time for them to actually grow. But you need to make sure that they are in the right place. They are in the right kind of soil. They are in the right kind of weather for them to actually bloom and be the greatest that they can be. It's the same thing with love. It needs to be mature. It needs to be in a much good and compatible kind of place, so that it can be able to grow and take root and grow up and straight and carry a crown and be beautiful in wherever it is. But we need to make sure that the foundation is there first. You need to make sure that they are in the right kind of place. So with your kind of life, you need to make sure that you take a step back and analyze those things, so that you find the right kind of person that will be able to mature your kind of love. They can be able to grow your kind of love, so that at the end of the day, you are building something that you're happy about. Okay. And then there is, I don't know, we used to call them what when we were growing up? Those ones we never attach. They're never attaching. They're never they're always, they don't want to put labels in anything. Are always wandering around. Maybe let's call them wanderers. They're always wandering around, in any kind of situation. They are never in one place. They are the energy of the show. Everyone wants them. Everyone wants to be with them. Those kind of people, they are fun. They have so much energy. but then they never want to attach, they never want to put labels in relationships, they never want to what. Those kind of people, they are very, very avoidant. Yes, I talked about the avoidance before, but these ones are very, very avoidant because they do not want to be attached, to be, in a relationship with anyone. They are always adventuring. Maybe they'll have 3, 4, 5 girlfriends out there. Even if they're in a relationship with someone, they're always looking for the next best thing out there. Always wondering, their eyes are wandering, their bodies are wandering, everything is always wandering, looking for the next best thing out there. If you find yourself that you are like that, you need to make sure that you take a step back and try to analyze what is it that you're going to get at the end of the day. Because you get to a point where other people get tired of who you are and they'll just, leave you because you are not fostering the relationships that are there. You need to be able to foster relationships with people that you are in, and relationships need honesty. Relationships need people who make the time and effort to actually build those kind of relationships, bringing the energy and just swooping in right at random times and then leaving them to pick up the pieces. There, at some point, those kind of people will be able to leave you. And at the end of the day, you might find that time has passed and you haven't fostered any kind of relationship that you have. So what is it that you should do? You should make sure that you have a self-introspection and try to build the real connections that you can have out there. And then last but not least, these are the healthy kind of people, maybe the last one is for people who have all these other traits, but they have worked on themselves and they have built themselves to be whomever they are at this point, and they get to a healthy kind of space. And they take up relationships in a way which is different from all the other types of relationships that are there. They are thoughtful, they are emotionally stable, they are grounded, they are balanced in so many things. They are patient, they're consistent, they're compassionate. Everything about them just speaks and says that they are ready for a relationship. They attract other people who are also ready in a relationship. So these are the people that have actually worked on whom they are up until they get to a point of saying now they can be healthy and stable. So all of us can be able to get to this part. We just need to work on ourselves, on our shortcomings, need to work on what so that we can be in a healthy space. Because there are some things that are very triggering, we get triggered and we let our baggage into the relationship, and this strains the relationship somehow. So we need to be able to understand who we are, so that after we understand who we are, we can be able to put ourselves out there, and we are not bringing baggage into the relationship that is actually supposed to be helping someone, but is now actually making someone anxious or avoidant in some way. So this is where we have to strive to be mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, everything about us stable and what. So all of this can only be possible if we are to work on ourselves and understanding the person that we're in a relationship with, whom the type that they are, so that we understand that they're doing this out of fear, they're doing this out of avoidance, or maybe they just want to run now at this point, but actually making a safe space for them to actually talk about their fears and about whom they are, so that at the end of the day we can build with the relationship that we want. So all of this is only possible if, I don't want to say hard work because I feel like hard work is not the right word, but we have to build ourselves with more effort, and efforts in a loving way will bring about so many things. So that's all that I had for you today, and I hope that you analyzed yourself and you saw yourself where you are, so at the end of the day you can be in a healthy space. All right, so that's all that I had for you. See you next time. Bye.